Hello, I'm Robert, voluntary fact checker and helping you if you're scared of many things. And this is about, first of all, why Trump can stop the Iran war at any time, and he doesn't have to agree to a ceasefire first. And then why Iran will stop too, and also why there was never any way it could have been anything even remotely like a world war. Those are the two main things I'm going to talk about today. So, first of all Trump has to do is say we have accomplished all our objectives, and as soon as the United States stops, Iran will too. I'm not going to give all the links and quotes that I normally do in my videos and in my blog posts, just to keep this short. I go into a lot of detail in the linked pages, and I'll do longer videos at some point. So, first of all, the reason that the United States can end it just by stopping is because they attacked Iran. And it's very similar to the Chinese invasion of Vietnam, because back then, in 1979, Iran attacked Vietnam, and then when it withdrew from Vietnam, the war ended, because Vietnam was not fighting at all except to defend itself. So, as soon as China withdrew from Vietnam, the war ended. They never formally declared a ceasefire. So, it's very much similar. As soon as the United States and Israel stop dropping bombs on Iran, then Iran will stop fighting too. So long as the United States says something like, if you keep on attacking our bases, we'll resume the attack, something like that. Because the only reason that Iran is doing that, so if the United States makes very clear they are stopping, and that if Iran continues to not attack them back, they'll continue being stopped, then Iran will stop soon too. And this actually happened at the end of the 12-day war. They didn't actually agree a ceasefire last year. The Iranians said they never agreed from their side to a ceasefire. They just said, as a practical matter, if you stop attacking us, we'll stop attacking you. And so that's how it ended. Now, what the Iranians won't do is to beg for a ceasefire. And this background, very few people seem to understand in the mainstream media. So, from their point of view, the United States helped Israel to kill their supreme leader. At the very point when he was point of agreeing to an unprecedented deal to never be able to develop nukes at all. So, what's the point of agreeing in negotiations or agreeing anything to the United States when, after making such an enormous succession, a huge breakthrough that never before in any American or Iranian talks ever, the Americans just attack and kill their supreme leader? So it's going to take a lot of rebuilding of trust before the Iranians can start talking to the Americans again. But every day the war continues, more of them, the government and their military are being killed. Now, I'm not in any way supporting the Iranian in their repressive regime. Please be clear about that. I'm just helping you to understand the point of view of the Iranians and why this war can stop when Trump stops. So the war can stop at any point. Trump just has to say stop and that's it. And then what happens next? Well, both sides still want the deal they had on the table before the United States agreed to Iran. Both want that nuclear deal still. It's just about how to get back to that point. So Iran agreed to a complete, well worked out nuclear deal, and they have even more reason now to agree to it, because they now know that they are even more defenseless than they thought they were. And so long as they can be convinced that agreeing to the deal will stop the United States agreeing to them again. So Trump will have to do something to rebuild their trust. And it's a personal guess. He might have to even pass a law in Congress to enable the peace talks. So he needs a way to convince the Iranians that if they enter into negotiations again, the United States will not attack and kill their new supreme leader at the very moment they're about to next agree to a deal. Because that's happened twice. The negotiations are going quite well before the 12 Days War, and they're superbly well before this attack. So Trump has to convince them he's not going to do this again. And one way might be to pass a law in Congress to say that he can't attack Iran again for as long as they're in a process of genuine negotiations, and require Trump to consult with Congress before an attack. Or there might be some other solution. One way or another, the United States has to convince the Iranians before they can start negotiating that they are negotiating in good faith, and they're not just trying to get the United States, the Iranians, into a position where they are off guard and the United States can attack them again. And then the other conditions, Iran was open to negotiation on all the other conditions too, like restrictions on missiles and restrictions on sponsoring proxies in the area. Iran did not say no to those things, despite the way Trump has spun it. What Iran said in the negotiations just before the United States attacked Iran, what Iran said is that these are for negotiations with its Arab neighbours. So it wants Saudi Arabia, it wants Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, all of those. It wants them to be on the negotiating table as well when they are talking about restricting their missiles and stopping sponsoring proxies, which is a reasonable position to take. So all that was on table already. Trump didn't need to attack Iran to get those either. So the invasion wasn't about nukes. Iran, the United States isn't even attacking nuclear sites in Iran. It did all that last June. It didn't need to do it again, and it hasn't done them again. It just seems to have been the United States' objective was to kill the previous supreme leader, assassinate lots of people in the Iranian government and in the military, and to destroy lots and lots of their missiles, and to sink their entire navy, and to destroy the entire air force, which consists of mainly fighter jets that they were given, that the previous Shah of Iran had from the 1970s. So Iran now no longer has an air force, and no longer has fighter jets, and it no longer has a navy. So it's very, very much weaker now as a result of this war. Which of course is why they will want a deal, even more so, but they need to get to the point where that can actually happen. So Iran didn't start this war, it's defensive for them, it's protecting their regime. The sooner it stops, the better. Every day they're losing more ships, they're losing more planes, they're losing more commanders, they're losing more missiles, they're losing everything. So they have not got any motivation to want to continue this war. And they're not being able to do anything much to damage the American military, except using up some of their air defences, but America's got loads of those too. So I just want to talk about the way the 12-day war ended. At the end of the 12-day war, Trump claimed that he had arranged a ceasefire, but the Iranian foreign minister said no ceasefire. As Iran has repeatedly made clear, Israel launched war on Iran, not the other way around. So in other words, they don't need to do a ceasefire because they didn't even start the war. As of now, there's no agreement on any ceasefire or cessation of military operations, however, provided that the Israeli regime stops its illegal aggression, we have no intention to continue our response afterwards. And then the final decision will be made later on how they want the cessation of their military operations, depending on what Israel did. And Israel did stop attacking Iran, and then Iran stopped attacking Israel. Well, it'll be very similar this time around, except the United States will be included in the first line. United States and Israel launched a war, not the other way around, and no agreement on a ceasefire or cessation, but provided the United States and Israel stops, then Iran will say they will stop too. That's what we can expect. And then the United States may, and then the long process of mediation building up enough trust, and the United States may even end up with a better deal. After all, Iran has got no navy, it's got no air force, it's learnt that the Chinese air defences that it thought could protect Tehran, they were utterly useless. They didn't protect the Ayatollah when the Israelis attacked him at the beginning of the war. So Iran is a much weaker position militarily even than before the war, because it knows how weak it is. I didn't know before quite how weak it was. But they have to get from here to there. So I'll stop here, and then I'll do a separate short video for the second half of this, which is about how there's no prospect of a world war.